Okay.
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is July 21st, 2022, and I think that this next move is going to surprise a lot of people. Most people who are not yet prepared for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market to run to the positive, to make positive price action, are going to FOMO into this next move. And this next move is most likely going to be bigger than most of us imagine. Here's why. I'm looking at this chart and I keep looking at it. Okay, this is my job. I love my job. I just chart and trade for a living. And I look at this and I'm like, 30K is cool. And 30K is important, just like I said yesterday. You need to reestablish 30K because 30K was important support. You need to make it now. You need to make it a level of support once again. And how do you do that? You break it and you retest it, right? We all know that. It's classical charting, classical technical analysis. It's called an RS flip. You break resistance and you turn it into new support. So I said yesterday, there's a likelihood that we break 30K, move up to 36, and come back down. But here's why that doesn't make sense. You're not making a higher high, okay? So the larger analysis, and you'll know this if you are subscribed to the channel, is that this is a macro reversal. We are at a point where Bitcoin has bottomed after 450 days of corrective price action, and we're establishing a new trend, and that trend is up. Now, anybody who's charted for any amount of time knows this. What does price action do when it establishes a new trend on any time frame? It makes a higher high. It needs to make a higher high, or else that's not a new uptrend. You're still in a downtrend, okay? So how do you make a higher high? Does it mean that you have to make an all-time high? No, not necessarily. But this right here is an important level, right? That at 46, 48, where is it? At 48K is important because it represents the median of this double zigzag right here, right? This double WXY, and then this intermittent move, and then another WXY. So this was a double zigzag, right? It's a complex correction. It's a WXY, a larger WXY, right? And then there's a WXY in W and a WXY in Y. It's not something you see every day, but I feel like that's what we got, okay? To make the higher high on this, I think you need to break 48K. That would mean that our extended fifth wave, remember, we have an extended fifth wave. We talked about this before. If you jump down into smaller time frames, let's go in the 4-hourly time frame, okay? You can see that we've gotten 4 waves already, okay? We've gotten a first wave, a second wave, almost unmistakably wave 2, a sharp wave 2 correction, right? Took around the same time as wave 1 took, right? That's undeniable. That's the first wave of impulse. Easy to count. Then from there, really quickly, you take your Fibonacci extension tool from the top to the bottom of that wave 2, and you extend between 1618 and 2 to get your wave 3. That's typically your wave 3, where your wave 3 hits, okay? And I feel like wave 3 hit over here, right? With that ending diagonal-ish. Or maybe it ended over here. Okay, let's just say it ended over here. Okay, more or less. So you got your wave 3. And now you're in a wave 5. And what's this? People are freaking out, people who can't read charts, right? They're saying, oh man, the bull market's over. It ended before it started. Like nothing happened. Yeah, nothing has happened because we're still under major resistance. If you zoom out, you'll see that most of the cryptocurrency market has yet to break these consolidation patterns, right? We've been forming these patterns since mid-June, okay? And in other assets, actually outside of Bitcoin, it's been longer. But the real fun only comes after these patterns are broken. So yes, we've made some positive price action, but that's nothing compared to what's coming. Trust me. It's not a question of if we're going to go higher, it's how high. That's the question. If you're talking probable moves, okay? Very unlikely that we break down, more than likely that we break up, but the question is, once again, how high? So to answer that, what I think we should do is take this Fibonacci extension of wave 1, retracement of wave 2, and then use our Fibonacci ratios to see where we could hit, okay? And right now, looking at this chart, I'm thinking it makes most sense for us to be targeting these levels of extension in the mid 40s. Yes, in the mid 40s to make the higher high. And once we have this 5-wave impulse, then and only then can we experience our correction, right? Our correction, our 3-wave correction, most likely a sharp correction. That's what you get after 5 waves up. And if this is your first impulse, which it would be, right? This would be the first major impulse of this bull market. You would get a sharp wave 2 correction down to a very important level that you RS flipped, right? You turn previous resistance into new support. And what is most important in Bitcoin's chart? What level is most important? The 30K level. It's the most important level. Prove it to yourself. Zoom out, go on the daily time frame, and you can see that this level right here was important here. It was important here. And when we lost it, all hell broke loose, okay? And regaining it would be, technically speaking, the process of breaking it and then retesting it. So this is what I think is very likely, okay? As for time frames, remember, moon cycles are a thing. There are statistically significant studies demonstrating that full moons are good buying opportunities. New moons are good selling opportunities, right? The next new moon is on the 28th, right? So approximately in 7 days. I anticipate, if we do actually pull this off, that we make this higher high in the next week, in the next 7 days. After which we would experience likely the same amount of time it took for us to matriculate up to make that higher high, right? 14, 16 days. We would experience a correction that lasted approximately the same amount of time. And that's what you see, right? That's Ralph Nelson Elliott's principle of equality. I don't like to call it equality, you all know. That's what Bob Prechter and AJ Frost call it. I like to call it the guideline of proportionality. 1, because it's not a rule, it's a guideline. 2, because it's not about always being 1-to-1. Sometimes it's 1-to-618, right? Or 1-618, right? It's proportion. You're looking at Fibonacci proportions. So I think that it's very likely that once we hit that higher high, then we come back down and retest 30K, making it, and this kind of segues, this elaborates my point from yesterday. 30K is really important. How important is 30K? It's so important that after breaking it, we're going to have to retest it. That's very likely. So this is what I'm seeing on Bitcoin's chart from the price action we've had here. Guys, the fun has yet to begin. But most people that don't read charts, or maybe they're not really chart savvy or trade savvy, they're going to miss this move, because this is going to happen very quick, relatively quickly. You're going to see an explosion, if this is indeed the case, to make that higher high. And then a lot of people are going to FOMO in, not really realizing that you broke an important resistance at 30K and you're going to have to retest it, right? And that 30K is at the 144 EMA on the daily, okay? Going on the weekly, just looking at this wouldn't be out of the ordinary, because look, your 55 EMA, which is represented by the blue line here on this chart, the yellow is a 21 and the green is 144, all Fibonacci numbers, right? This blue one is right now at 36. So if we start running, okay, it can stay at 36. We breach it slightly and then come back, test it once here with this zigzag. You usually get a zigzag in wave 2. Okay, test it once, bounce off of it, and then test your double, your sort of your convergence of the 21 and the 144 EMA. Just looking at the EMAs, this makes sense. Looking at price action and thinking technically of what needs to happen for a trend change to occur, this makes sense. This is what I'm planning for. Again, this is not a crystal ball. This is not 100%. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think this is a likely scenario for Bitcoin in the coming days, if that interests you and you find value in that, rather than like, share, and subscribe. Now, I'm going to look at the rest of the market, and using this same kind of logic, or this same reasoning, I'm going to derive some conclusions from what I think is likely to happen in other assets. So I see Dodo having put in a wave 1 correction and a wave 2 correction. Unlike Bitcoin, I don't think we're in an extended wave 5, although I do see extended waves, forthcoming. Maybe we get an extended wave 5 only after hitting this wave 3 at the 21 EMA on the weekly. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of positive price action in these assets. Again, I don't think that we have to wait too much longer, because that full moon, new moon thing is a thing. Okay, and there's only 7 days left until the new moon, which represents typically a top thereabouts, right? It doesn't have to be the day of, it can be days before, days after, but usually around that new moon you get a market top. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dodo came and breached this, and using the same logic we did in Bitcoin, this would be your higher high, right here, breaching this level. So you'd probably come up and do something like this, okay? And what's that look like using our Fibonacci extension? Do we have any discrete Fibonacci levels at that level? Maybe. I don't have every single last level on this chart. Again, remember where we're getting this, and this goes back to theory. I'm just going to jump into our manual really quickly. Again, I'm using this advanced manual on Elliott Wave, which is The Wave Theory by Bob Prechter and AJ Frost. And if you go to page 104 in the Kindle version, you'll see it. This is one of the more involved chapters. He basically breaks down the math behind Fibonacci's sequence. He breaks down the history and the math, and he really goes into down the rabbit hole, like really in depth. And so if you take this table, you'll see a bunch of, here, let me make it bigger. I can't really make it bigger. Let's try one more time. Okay, I've lost my, okay, there we go. You see that there are a bunch of different Fibonacci ratios, numbers derived from Fibonacci ratios. You're not going to put all of these on your charts, right? So you pick a few around certain levels. So I picked, for me, the 4236 and the 685 rather, and the 11.08. Then I also added 17 and 28, for instance. You see what I mean? Like, you can pick and choose, but these are all Fibonacci levels, right? You see your 21, you see your 55, you see your 144. I can also add 34 and 89 EMAs, but I haven't. Do you see what I mean? So you just want to study this stuff and make your own system based off of what makes sense to you, what you like. I'm not going to add every single last Fibonacci number. Now, back to our charts. That means that even if we're in this region, and I think that we should make a higher high right here in Dodo, it doesn't mean that we're not hitting an important Fibonacci level. We may very well be. I just don't have it in the extension. Do you see what I mean? So this is what I see for Dodo. All right, let's move on. Litecoin, I see something similar, right? The big move happening. What's the higher high here in this ABC zigzag? I think this is the higher high. I think it's hard to say. I think this is a higher high right here. I mean, this is crazy. These are huge moves. But I'm just going off of what I think makes sense, okay? Maybe I'm overestimating it. I don't know. But I'm seeing here, let's see. If we got a leading diagonal in Litecoin. So I'm going to take waves 1 through 3, retracement of 4. Maybe somewhere up here, yeah. Maybe somewhere up here. I don't know. And is this going to happen before the next new moon? I don't know. But it's likely. I think there's a case to be made to make this pattern right here, where you make the higher high, you test previous resistance that is now support, and then you continue with your bull run. There's a case to be made for that, okay? And for that to be made in a violent way, yeah. Dogecoin, same deal. I'm not going to go through everything because we don't have time. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on the market, my friends. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. And have a great Thursday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.